Well, hello there, everybody. Yes, time passages for all of us. How are you doing? Little Al Stewart, always a favorite. I'll tell you, I had the privilege of seeing him back in 1973. And wow, that's all I got to say is wow. But then again, a lot of my life has been a wow. So, how is everybody? So good to see everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I think I am getting all of this about right. Hold on one second. As he goes there, hits that button. All of y'all know who drive your bust. You know what the feeling is. You got to do the pre-flight check, So welcome everybody. Speaking favor over us all means that each and every one of us have been empowered to prosper. And if you're not prospering, that means someone's stealing from you. So catch the thief, make him pay sevenfold. That's how the natural law works. So someone needed to hear that. Yeah, that's how it works. You catch a thief that has stolen from you, the reparations on that is sevenfold. So bam, baby. Hey, Brandy, how are you? I am doing exceptionally. I am always on top. I am always the head and always above. So there. Hey, Shannon, what's up? Yeah, music, music is magic. You know that. Everyone knows that. So again, favor be upon us all. Be of service to others. The Bosto, happy birthday anniversary if you got one. And baby, we are a prospering. Hey, Jack Dreaming, what's happening? All the way from Wilshire. There we go. Hold on one second. All right. So now I'm back. Is he live or is it Memorex? Who knows? What is reality? Friday night, tomorrow night, I will be with a panel over on the Andromeda 7 channel. Looking forward to it. What is virtual reality? What is reality? Well, that's the thing. Jeez. The older you, well, let me rephrase that. The longer you spend in this realm, the more you find out it ain't what it says. Joe, what's happening? I had a dream this morning. Somebody tried to block out or censor what I had to say, which is at the end of my life, I came to realize that I am divine sovereign. Yeah. It's odd that you mentioned that, Joe, because I told my wife this morning I had the most profound dream as well. I was sitting, and the best I can recall to the backdrop seemed to be out in nature somewhere. In fact, it seemed like we were sitting on rocks, but different. And there were three, I wouldn't say they were elders, but yeah, I knew that I was amongst, great minds. And remember, the brain is not your mind. Your mind is in your brain, but your brain is not in your mind. Anyway, so I had this female, and the best thing I can say, the energy was feminine. This is what I heard her say. She said my name, and she said, words, your words impact your future. Speak your words wisely. Okay, I'm digging that. Oh, you were flying in outer space. I was not. I can't say that I was. Hey, Zigzagzilla, what's up? Good to see you. Hello, Amy. David Castle, how are you? Jack Dreaming, SJW, how are you doing? Dreams. What was that? Dream realms are wide open for sure. Yeah. Yeah. The gate, the panel, the portal, the vortex, it's all open now. I love it. Hey, Shirley, what's up? Jules, hello. Nina, how are you doing? I think she said she's going to do her hump day show on Friday. Good to see you, my dear. I trust all is well. Deborah, hello, my dear. Julie, much love to you. Danny, hello. How's the little one? Rufus, how are you? And how is your human? How's David? Jackie, good to see you. Let's see what else is happening. Paul, good to see you. Gaia, good to see you. Martin and Heidi, I'm sure, is in here as well. Eric, Kelly, lost in space. So good to see everybody. So cheers. You know, the sensation, the gift of smelling, tasting, knowing the difference between hot and cold, and all the magic you can do with all three of those. You can make an elixir out of this. This is alchemy. It has the life itself, which is water. And within this water is powerful magic. Every time I take a sip, it just replenishes my body. And within it, it has the exotic spices. And we are truly gods when you think about it. Everything that we experience, and it's down to 5 primary things, 3 chemical, right? And then 2 electrical. And that's reality. But boy, within that reality, holy crap, Batman. I mean, you stop and think about, now, if you're a coffee drinker, same thing. I drink tea. It's a gift. This taste, that the way that you can allow the flavors and the aroma to do their magic within your temple. It's amazing when you think about it. I don't know if the dead can still experience that, or is it just a memory? I don't know. I mean, if you feel pain, you would think that you would have, well, then what are you actually going with the 5 senses, or is it more than greater than 5 senses? But can they have a cup of hot tea? You know, there is a certain, I don't know. There's a certain serenity in enjoying a hot beverage with a friend. And we're sitting here with well over nearly a couple hundred of our best friends, this thing we call Soul Tribe. All I know is I identify with all of you. But think about that. Next time you just take it for granted, just stop and think about it. Wow. I'm truly a god. For only a god could truly experience something like this, so intricate, so complex, yet so simple. Speaking of compliments to the Soul Tribe, got an email from, I guess, a visitor, a guest who dropped in and said, one, that she really found the energy to be different. She says she visits lots of other channels, but she said there's just a closeness. Said as well that she really enjoys the subject matter. It's not widely broadcast. It certainly doesn't draw crowds, but you know, that's a good thing. Some of the stuff we cover here, we really don't want crowds. I mean, most of them think we were nuts, but that's all right. And she said that she really felt that there was a camaraderie. So way to go, all of y'all. I mean, you're the ones who monitor and keep the chat room the way it is, but it's really quite something. Y'all are just fantastic people. Kelly says, I thought I could still taste, but my mind somehow was trying to fill in the missing. I'm gathering that some people losing the sense of aroma, the oratory, and the taste. When Lynn got the virus, she lost that ability to taste and to smell. And I'm a good cook. It just, even putting the double spices in there, what have you. Yeah. Hey, Elderberry, what's happening? Susie Q, good to see everybody. Hey, Loretta, good to see you. Hello, Stan. Young people are overdosing to experience death. Well, they better watch out, because that it's a razor thin line. Yeah, I know, it's pretty interesting. So let's see what else is going on. Don't forget the angel cards. I'm telling you, folks, you'll appreciate this. Look at it as an investment in your future, an investment of those around you. And as Joe Cocker, wherever that cowboy is at, all of us can use a little help from our friends. Do you need somebody? I just need somebody to love. Oh, yeah. We all know the song. And of course, Joe Cocker, I saw him do that live, but his performance there at Woodstock is going to be forever imprinted upon the record. So yes, okay, Jack Dreamin', I'm going to stand right there as well. I think you can email Big Al as well. We're getting there. A lot of people are ordering, and that's good. I'm going to be reordering. These are the type of gifts that you give to someone that is awake enough, let's say aware enough. Awake is so misused, that it will open doors. These cards, as I used to say in my former religion, are anointed. I'm anointed. Guess to some extent we're all anointed, but I've been physically anointed. I've been physically assaulted too, but who's keeping score, right? So seriously, it's really an investment, I think, in a person's future. And the cost is very reasonable, $50. That's a very reasonable cost. And I know for some people that's a lot, but that's all right. We're working on other things that once we get them and what have you, we're going to be giving away a number of them right here. Got people already that want to come on, and we're going to have fun. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And speaking of angels, our angel today is Yael. This is the angel of mental power. It is the God who listens. How interesting. Patron of new technologies, IT, specialisms, programmers, computer users, innovators, and inventors, and those with a scientific mind. We got a lot of that going on right here. This is the most inquisitive group I've ever seen. And as a result, all of us that bring this knowledge that each one of us possess. I'm just up here. I'm just, the talking head, so to speak. The real action, to those of you who are listening, is really in the chat room. They got it going, man. That's all I got to say. They got it going. And I can't watch that too often. When I have Trina on or other guests, I can, because, it's like, wow. The bus starts veering, and everyone in the back's going, hey, man, I'm going seasick. You know what I'm saying? I get it. Worst flight I've ever had. Well, I've had a couple. But one of the ones where, and I don't get airsick, and you know, I like flying, but there was a time, hell, this was been a while ago. I'll put it that way. Way back a lot. I'm talking decades. But any case, so I remember flying. It was a TWA. How many of you remember that? L1011. Remember those? Those were, you know, the triple row ones. Then the L1011 was also the one that crashed at Dallas Fort Worth. Flew over that the next day. Yeah, that was a bad sight. Anyway, so flying into Las Vegas, we hit this, and I'm back, like in the back 2/3 of the plane, and we hit this desert crosswind coming across McCarran Airport. And so in the back end, we're doing this number, you know, as the plane's trying to land. Yeah. Everybody, and I mean, there were a few who could not hold it, because there are some people that kind of swaying, you know, even me doing that, but them looking at my hands, and you're sitting in that seat and it's like doing this number. Oh yeah. That's all I got to tell you. The scariest airport I've ever landed in, Charleston, West Virginia. Holy crap, folks. I mean, whoa. I mean, what they designed that airport to be, holy shit. I mean, I was flying it because you only fly in there on a commuter flight. Bigger jets have a real problem. And so take the commuter jet from Dulles, and seriously. So here we are in this, what I call the pedal jumpers, twin turbo commuter jet. This gal she was sitting across from me, up one seat, because the other side only had, you know, they only had the single seats. This woman is freaking out. I mean, she's having a full-fledged freak out. And pilots will tell you that that airport is precarious to land in, and particularly because you're doing this number and this number, and at the end of the runway, there's this freaking 1,000-foot cliff. And so you come in anyway, yeah. Well, so I almost passed out landing at that airport. You see, yeah, people know. And DIA out here in Denver, in the winds here, oh, they had time. Oh yeah, yeah. So folks, hey, Scott Lewis Smith, how you doing? Hello, Street Mom, how are you doing, my dear? Good to see you. Teresa, hello. Al, how you doing, buddy? If you're southeast of Colorado, I know it sucks. The weather has to be hellacious, adventurous. I don't know. So Al, we just speak favor around you, buddy. You and Perry. That's all I got to say. All right. Amy says, my plane hit a palm tree. I bet that had to sound like, oh, crap. Boom, you know. Palm strings is another fun one. High wind. Yeah, Gaia, you're absolutely right. Not to mention the other stuff associated with I know nothing about that. Now that airport, anyone who will, you've heard the rumors, right? Let me tell you something about those rumors. They're, as many rumors, they're founded upon factual foundation. And if anyone's ever taken the train between where you're out in the main part of the airport and getting into the trains to go to the gates, yeah, there are offshoots on that train track. Well, you're underground. That, I mean, they certainly aren't going the way that you're going as the main traffic, but yes, there are offshoots to there that lead, so they say, down to another level. And that other level leads to what we call the understates, not the interstates, the understate. It is the transportation system that's built underground. Denver is a hub. Denver is a spike that leads out to the west, up to the north. It is the receiving point from the east. Actually talked to a truck driver. That's what his job was. He never saw daylight. His route was underground. So anyway, digress. Let's get back into Lilith. I love this study. We'll probably break this off today. But I'll tell you, I got a sense that, we're busting boundaries, barriers. The underground bunkers by Walmart. Yeah, no shit. How many remember Operation Jade Helm? You see, some of us keep that in our archives. Yeah, we know. So let's get back into this. I mean, I really enjoy this. I've read about, I got to tell you 3/4 of this. And this is a study that any of us should be really proud of, no doubt about it, because again, it gives the academic references, and so it really kind of cuts the bullshit, and with this, I think we have a better understanding how this deity, I mean, the evidence would pretty much say if culture has any impact on a reality, which it does, she, for all intents and purposes, is as real as you and I are. And it's real interesting because within this, I was meditating last night, just thinking on her and just thanking the goddess. I mean, it's much easier for me to now say that, realizing that if there is a war, a spiritual war, it's not against good and evil, it's against male, female. At least this is what it paints out to be. All right, so the tumult. Although references to Lilith and the tumult are sparse, these passages provide a most comprehensive insight into demoness yet seen in a Judaic literature, which some speculate to echo Lilith's purported Mesopotamian origins and prefigure her future as the perceived exical enigma of the Genesis account. Recalling the Lilith we have seen, Talmudic allusions to Lilith illustrated her essential wings and long hair, dating back to her earliest extent mentioned in the Gilgamesh. And I've shown you the pictures of the cave drawings. Reb Judah, citing Samuel, ruled, if an abortion had the likeness of Lilith, its mother, is unclean by reason of the birth, for it is a child, but has wings. Wow. That's Nuda 224. Okay. Well, they said not Moses, Noah was a being that he shone. He illuminated light. That's why his father Lamech said, hey, I did not give birth to that. And his mama slapped him and said, who else has been, expounding upon the curses of the womanhood in a baritha, I think that's right. Yeah. Bar mitzvah, baritha. It was taught she grows long hair like Lilith, sits when making water like a beast, and serves as a bolster for her husband. I mean, this is, again, tells you where the female ranks in this. Unique to the Talmud was regard to Lilith is her incestuous carnality, alluded to in the seductress, but expanded upon here on the Sands unspecific metaphors as the demoness assuming the form of a woman in order to sexually take men by force while they sleep. Hell of a dream. How many of you have experienced night paralysis? Don't do it anymore, but you know what that feels like. That is a real state of consciousness. And if you're visited, well, there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. Many of you know that to be true. Until I learned to control it, it was a fear. You're awake. You know you're awake, but you're asleep. And you know that feeling. You can't blink your eyes, can't move your hand unless you start concentrating. And I had to start concentrating on one finger. Anyway, R. Hannah says, one may not sleep in a house alone, in a lonely house, and whosoever sleeps in a house alone is seized by Lilith. The Shabbat 151. Yet the most innovative perception of Lilith offered by the Talmud appears earlier in the Urbin and is more than likely inadvertently responsible for the fate of the Lilith myth for centuries to come. R. Jeremiah B. Elazar further stated, in all those years, 130 years after his expulsion from the Garden of Eden, during which Adam was under the ban, wow, he begot ghosts and male demons and female demons or night demons. For it is said in Scripture, and Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness, after his own image, which from which it follows that until that time he did not beget after his own image, when he saw that through him death was ordained as punishment. He spent 130 years in fasting, severed connection with his wife, and 130 years, and wore clothes of figs on his body for 130 years. That statement of R. Jeremiah was made in reference to the semen which he admitted accidentally. So this is interesting. When you merely take religion at faith value and never do the background check, you suddenly realize that you have adapted a belief system that was predicated upon something that's not even represented anymore. Now, this is interesting because this is saying that Adam knew not Eve. Okay, one. During that time, he was under the ban, and he begot ghost. Now, ghost is a singular category here, and male demons and female demons are night demons. So an astute student in this lecture would obviously be writing down right now that these are three genuses, G-N-U-S, of our species. Ghost, we studied that already. Separate category of spirit being. And here, what I find interesting is that we have the sexuality divided even amongst Adam's creation. Male demons, female demons. And it seems that, again, the semen has life beyond that when it is ejaculated out of the host. 130 years. fasting. Wow. And then, you know, when I'm sitting here reading this and I'm going, all right, so what about Eve? I mean, we don't hear anything about her. We have the implication that Lilith is here stealing what would, I guess, either legally be Eve's, or is it legally Lilith's to begin with? It says, comparing the Urbin 18 and the Shabbat with the later passages from the Zohar, she wanders about at night, vexing the sons of men and causing them to defile themselves. It appears clear that the Talmudic passage indicates such an adverse union between Adam and Lilith. Now, this has huge implications from, if it's just simply from an etymology point of view. I mean, we all kind of seek where the beginning began. And if these stories, which are mostly myths, no one has any ability to prove these right or wrong, real or not. But nevertheless, they're ingrained into our culture. So we know it has to stem from something that must have happened. What I knew in my Bible studies was that it was clear, particularly through teachers like Dr. Lester Summerall, that there was an earth change. This earth change changed everything, including us. The pre-Adamics were a culture, a race that have been erased from our records. And we have merely these tidbits of these tantalizing passages of these beings, of which would not be necessarily human. These would be super beings. They had extraordinary powers. They were, in fact, the first Avengers, right? All right, the Shedem cults. A cult in Mesopotamia is said to be related to Lilith by early Jewish leaders. According to the hypothesis proposed by Albright and Gester and others, the name Lilith already existed in 7th century BC, and Lilith retained her Shedem characteristics throughout the entire Jewish tradition. Shedem is plural for spirit or demon. Figures that represent the Shedems are the Shadu of Babylonian mythology. These figures are depicted as anthropomorphic winged bulls associated with wind. They were thought to be the guards of the palaces, the city, the houses, and the temples. In the magical text of that era, they could be either malevolent or benevolent. The cult originated from Babylon, then spread into Canaan, and eventually to Israel. Human sacrifice was part of the practice, and a sacrificial altar existed of the Shedem next to the Yahweh cult. Although this practice was widely denounced by prophets who retained belief in Yahweh. Now, I've covered enough of this that we know that Yahweh followers were cult. They human sacrificing. Weird. And as my wife and I were talking about this last night, as I was going through this, I said, it's very obvious that the satyrs had to have existed. Beings, half human, half animal. There's so much evidence of that, that it appears that they either went underground or were somehow rendered extinct. The Shedem in Jewish thought and literature was portrayed as quite malevolent. Some writings contend that they are storm demons. Their creation is present in 3 contradicting Jewish tales. The first is that during creation, God created the Shedem, but did not create their bodies and forgot them on the Shabbat when he rested. The second, now that would piss you off, wouldn't it? Hey, wait, don't take a nap. What about? Yeah. The second is they are descendants of demons in the form of serpents. And the last states that they are simply descendants of Adam and Lilith. Wow. Now, in the Liber Lilith, we get a picture of what's going on here. There's apparently before, and if she's still giving birth, I don't know. But we do know that during that period, billions of these creatures were either born, created, etc. We know that they have immortality, as we do, but we know they do not have the ability to fully partake in the living experience, and this is why they seek the living. Another story asserts that after the Tower of Babel, some people were scattered and became the Shadim, the Rushin, and the Lilin. Folk tradition. A Hebrew tradition exists in which an amulet is inscribed with the names of the three angels, Sinoi, Sinoi, and Simnagaloth, and placed around the neck of newborn boys in order to protect them from the Lilin until their circumcision. Again, how would a perfect, all-knowing God make a mistake like that? Anyway. How's everyone on the bus? Y'all doing all right? Okay. The 8th and 10th century alphabet of Ben Sirah is considered to be the oldest form of the story of Lilith as Adam's first wife. Whether this particular tradition is older is not known. Scholars tend to date the alphabet between the 8th and 10th centuries AD. The attribution to the sage Ben Sirah is considered false, with the true author actually unknown. The amulets used against Lilith that were thought to be derived from this tradition are, in fact, dated as being much older. The concept of Eve having a predecessor is not exclusive to the alphabet and is not a new concept. It can be found in Genesis, Rahab. However, the idea that Lilith was the predecessor is exclusive to the alphabet. According to Gershom Shalom, the author of the Zohar, R. Moses Dillon, was aware of the folk tradition of Lilith. He was also aware of another story, possibly older, that may be conflicting. The idea that Adam had a wife prior to Eve may have developed from an interpretation of the book of Genesis and its dual creation accounts. While Genesis 2:22 describes God's creation from Eve's rib, for creation of Eve from Adam's rib, an earlier passage, again, this is the Genesis 1:26 people. This is, and you can go see it. It's one of my top view videos beside Ball. Two creations, two different accounts. Passage in Genesis 1:27, although already indicates that a woman had been made. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created him, male and female created he in them. There's no freaking story about no goddamn rib being taken out of the dude and him being supplanted. And then, it's right there. Oh, I got to tell you, I was asked to leave in a Bible study because this was heresy. What do you mean, two different creations? One did not have the breath of this demiurge blown into it. Where are those people? They're still here. Told you not, we're all not the same on the inside. You can be married to someone and they do not have a soul like you. They may have a completely different soul, if they have one at all. The alphabet text places Lilith's creation after God's words in Genesis 2:18 that says, "It is not good for man to be alone." In this text, God forms Lilith out of the clay from which he made Adam, but she and Adam bicker. Oh, gee, like that doesn't happen today, huh? Lilith claims that since she and Adam were created in the same way, they were equal, and she refused to submit to him or this male son of a bitch called God, because he's a small dick prick. But anyway, I digress. That was just opinion. After God created Adam, who was alone, you see, wait a minute, but before the story was they were created, yeah. He said, it's not good for man to be alone. Then he created a woman for Adam from the earth as he had created Adam himself and called her Lilith. Adam and Lilith immediately began to fight. She said, "I will not lie below." And he said, "I will not lie beneath you, but only on top. For you are fit only to be in the bottom position." Adam was so naive. I mean, come on. While I'm to be the superior one. Now, that would piss me off. Lilith responded, "We are equal to each other inasmuch as we were both created from the earth." But they would not listen to one another. When Lilith saw this, she pronounced the ineffable name and flew away into the air. Now, that kind of gives you a thing. Could Adam fly as well? Were they actually using wings? Or could they do the Superman thing? I don't know. But it's very interesting that this story by the canon scripture has been the one most suppressed, because this screws the whole works up. This means that the Jesus dude may in fact be more related to Lilith than the Jewish heritage that Christianity proclaims. So Jesus Christ in Lilith. Is Lilith Jesus Christ's mother? Was Mary merely the vessel of which Lilith inhabited to give birth to one of her own? Ooh, Steiger. Oh, have you just pissed off some people? Hey, the original story ain't working. Don't tell me about the love crap from the Christ consciousness, because it's in very short supply in our reality. Always has been. But anyway, Adam stood in prayer before his creator. "Sovereign of the universe," he said, "the woman you gave me has run away." At once, the Holy One, blessed be he, sent these three angels to bring her back. Said the Holy One to Adam, "If she agrees to come back, what is made is good. If not, she must permit 100 of her children to die every day." The angels left God and pursued Lilith, whom they overtook in the midst of the sea, in the mighty waters wherein the Egyptians were destined to drown. The Red Sea? In the mighty waters wherein they told her God's word, but she did not wish to return. The angel said, "We shall drown you in the sea." "Leave me," she said. "I was created only to cause sickness to infants, and if the infant is male, I have dominion over him for 8 days after his birth, and if female, for 20 days. When the angels heard Lilith's words, they insisted she go back, but she swore to them by the name of the living and eternal God, "Whenever I see you or your names or your forms in an amulet, I will have no power over that infant." She also agreed to have 100 of her children die every day. Accordingly, every day 100 demons perish, and for the same reason, we write the angels' names on the amulets of young children. When Lilith sees their names, she remembers her oath and the child recovers. Wow, heavy story. The background and purpose of the alphabet of the Ben Sira is unclear. It is a collection of stories about heroes of the Bible and the Talmud. It may have been a collection of folk tales, a refutation of Christian, the Karaite, or other separatist movements. Its content seems so offensive to contemporary Jews that it was even suggested it could be an anti-Jewish satire. Although, in any case, the text was accepted by the Jewish mystics of medieval Germany. The alphabet of Ben Sira is the earliest surviving source of the story, and the conception that Lilith was Adam's first wife became only widely known with the 17th century lexicon of the Tulmacon of Jonas Beckstoff. Wow. Folks, we are getting, this is class. This is not entertainment. You know, this is knowledge. And I don't know about you, but it has helped me immensely. Because I can read all the books and I can look at it and go, okay, I know where this vein of thought comes from. In the folk tradition that arose in the Middle Ages, Lilith, a dominant female demon, became identified with the Asmodeus, the king of demons, as his queen. Asmodeus was already well known by this time because of the legends about him in the Talmud. Thus, the merging of Lilith and Asmodeus was inevitable. The second myth of Lilith grew to include legends about another world, and by some accounts, this other world existed side by side with this one. Yene Welt is Yiddish for this described other world. In this case, Asmodeus and Lilith were believed to procreate demonic offspring endlessly and spread chaos at every turn. Swartz said many disasters were blamed on both of them, causing wine to turn into vinegar, men to be impotent, women unable to give birth. And it was Lilith who was blamed for the loss of infant life. The presence of Lilith and her cohorts were considered very real at this time. So why would it be different this time than that time? If we can sit here and say, well, we can manifest our thoughts, our beliefs, what the hell is the difference back then? If they believed this, she existed. She existed in exactly what they had perceived her to be. Two primary characteristics are seen in these legends about Lilith. Lilith as the incarnation of lust, causing men to be led astray, in other words, adultery, fornication, and Lilith as a child-killing witch who strangles helpless neonates. Although these two aspects of Lilith legend seem to have evolved separately, there is hardly a tale where she encompasses both roles. But the aspect of the witch-like role that Lilith plays broadens her archetype of the destructive side of the witchcraft. Such stories are commonly found among the Jewish folklore. In the Kabbalah, Kabbalistic mysticism attempted to establish a more exact relationship between Lilith and the deity, with her major characteristics having been well developed by the end of the Talmudic period. After 6 centuries had elapsed between the Aramaic incantation text that mention Lilith and the early Spanish Kabbalic writings of the 13th century, she reappears, and her life history becomes known in greater mythological details. Her creation is described in many alternative versions. One mentions her creation as being before Adam's on the 5th day, because the living creatures with whose swarms God filled the earth, waters included none other than Lilith. A similar version related to the earlier Talmudic passages recounts how Lilith was fashioned with the same substance as Adam was. shortly before. The third alternative version states that God originally created Adam and Lilith in a manner that the female creature was contained in the male, hermaphrodites. Lilith's soul was lodged in the depths of the great abyss. When God called her, she joined Adam. After Adam's body was created, 1,000 souls from the left, evil side, attempted to attach themselves to him. Wow. So Adam's body was created, 1,000 souls from the left side attempted to attach themselves to him. You know, it gives you the idea at times that this fluid inside of us, there's many different fluids in the human body, blood being one of them, obviously, but it tells me there's something else significant about what these bodies contain. Some say that we have a substance to our blood that our scientists haven't even figured out yet. And this is what's the most valuable. Anyway, God drove them off. Adam was left lying as a body without a soul. Whoa. Then a cloud descended, and God commanded the earth to produce a living soul. This God breathed into Adam, who began to spring to life, and his female was attached to his side. God separated the female from Adam's side. That had to be a creature. Now just stop and think about this. What are we talking about? Today, we would call it, horrendous, grotesque. A male, female. The female side was Lilith, whereupon she flew to the cities of the sea and attacks humankind. Wow. Yet another version claims that Lilith was not created by God, but emerged as a divine entity that was born spontaneously, either out of the great supernatural abyss or out of the power of an aspect of God, the Guroth of Din. Wow. This aspect of God, one of his 10 attributes, the Sephiroth, at its lowest manifestation, has an infinity with the realm of evil, and it is out of this that Lilith merged with Samuel. According to the alphabet of Ben Sirah, Lilith was Adam's first wife. Quite fascinating. I've been to a lot of channels listening to what they have to say about Lilith. None of this has ever been discussed in any, what I would call, forum. An alternative story that links Lilith with the creation of luminaries. The first light, which is the light of mercy, one of the Sirot, appeared on the first day of creation when God said, "Let there be light." This light became hidden, and the holiness became surrounded by a husk of evil. A husk, the kilpah, was created around the brain, and this husk spread and brought out another husk, which was Lilith. Wow. Having fun on this? Loving it. Adam and Lilith. The first medieval sources to depict Adam and Lilith in full was the Mirisht Abkur, circa 10th century, which was followed by the Zohar and the Kabbalistic writings. Adam is said to be perfect until he recognizes either his sin or Cain's fratricide that is the cause of bringing death into the world. He then separates from holy Eve, sleeps alone, and fasts for 130 years. During this time, Lilith, also known as Paisna or Nema, desired his beauty and came to him against his will. So she raped him. She bore him many demons and spirits called the plagues of humankind. The added explanation was that it was through Adam's own sin that Lilith overcame him against his will. By the way, you can see this in Michelangelo's Lilith, the temptation of Adam and Eve. Older sources state clearly that after Lilith's Red Sea sojourn, she returned to Adam and begat children from him. In the Zohar, however, Lilith is said to have succeeded in begetting offspring from Adam during their short-lived sexual experience. Lilith leaves Adam in Edom, as she is not suitable helpmate for him. She returns later to force herself upon him. However, before doing so, she attaches herself to Cain and bears him numerous spirits and demons. Whoa. Samuel and Lilith, the mystical writing of two brothers, Jacob and Isaac, Hakohen, which predates the Zohar by a few decades, states that Samuel and Lilith are in the shape of an androgynous being, double-faced, born out of the emanation of the throne of glory, and corresponding in the spiritual realm to Adam and Eve, who were likewise born as a hermaphrodite. The two twin androgynous couples resemble each other, and both were like the image of above. That is, that they are reproduced in a visible form of an androgynous deity. Another version was that also current among the Kabbalistic circles in the Middle Ages, establishes Lilith as the first of Samuel's four wives, Lilith, Naamath, Igrath, and Mahalath. Each of them are mothers of demons and have their own host and unclean spirits in no number. The marriage of Archangel Samuel and Lilith was arranged by Blind Dragon, who is the counterpart of the dragon that is in the sea. Blind Dragon acts as an intermediary between Lilith and Samuel. Blind Dragon rides Lilith the sinful. May she be extradited quickly in our days. Amen. And this blind dragon brings about the union between Samuel and Lilith. And just as the dragon that is in the sea has no eyes, likewise, blind dragon that is above, in the likeness of a spiritual form, is without eyes. That is to say, without colors. Samuel is called the slant serpent, and Lilith is called the torturous serpent. The marriage of Samuel and Lilith is known as the angel Satan, or the other god, but it was not allowed to last. To prevent Lilith and Samuel's demonic children, Lilith, from filling the world, God castrated Samuel. And in many 17th century Kabbalistic books, the mythologram is based on the identification of Leviathan, the slant serpent, and Leviathan, the torturous serpent, and the reinterpretation of an old Talmudic myth where God castrated the male Leviathan and slew the female Leviathan in order to prevent them from mating and thereby destroying the earth. After Samuel became castrated and Lilith was unable to fornicate with him, she left him to couple with men who experienced nocturnal emissions. As 15th and 16th century Kabbalistic text states that God has cooled the female Leviathan, meaning that he has made Lilith infertile and she is a mere fornication. Two Liliths. I'm probably going to go a little bit over on this just to finish up. This is compelling. The passage in the 13th century document called the Treatise of the Left Emanation says that there are two Liliths, the lesser being married to the greater demon Asmodeus. In answer to your questions concerning Lilith, I shall explain to you the essence of the matter. Concerning this point, there is a received tradition from the ancient sages who made use of the secret knowledge of the lesser paralysis, which is the manipulation of demons and a ladder by which one ascends to the prophetic levels. In this tradition, it is made clear that Samuel and Lilith were born as one, similar to the form of Adam and Eve, who were also born as one, reflecting what is above. This is the account of Lilith, which was received by the sages in the secret knowledge of the palaces. The matron Lilith is the mate of Samuel. Both of them were born at the same hour in the image of Adam and Eve, intertwined in each other. Asmodeus, the great king of the demons, has as a mate the lesser, younger Lilith, daughter of the king whose name is I believe that's Quasavani. The name of his mate is Mehatabel, daughter of the matron, and their daughter is Lilith. Wow. So Lilith tempting Eve into eating the forbidden fruit. This is 5th century again, reference. Another passage charges Lilith as being a tempting serpent of Eve's. And the serpent, the woman of harlotry, incited and seduced Eve through the husk of light, which in itself is holiness. We got to pay attention to this. And the serpent seduced holy Eve, enough said for him who understands. This is lesbianism. It's the only thing it could be. If the serpent is Lilith, Lilith is the feminine, Eve being the feminine aspect of Adam, what else can it be? Just saying. And the serpent seduced Eve. We know what seduction seduced is, holy Eve. And enough said. All right. And all this ruination came about because Adam, the first man, coupled with Eve while she was in her ministerial impurity. This is the filth and the impure seed of the serpent who mounted Eve before Adam mounted her. Well, maybe she was both, huh? Behold, here it is before you. Because of the sins of Adam, the first man, all the things mentioned came into being. For evil Lilith, when she saw the greatness of his corruption, became strong in her husk. So this husk is important. Wonder how many of us are surrounded by another husk, and came to Adam against his will and became hot from him and bore him many demons and spirits and Lilith. So it means that these demons, the jinn, the angels, apparently are all from us, or maybe they're not. They may relate to various late medieval iconography of a female serpent figure believed to be Lilith, tempting Adam and Eve. The prophet Elijah is said to have confronted Lilith in one text. In this encounter, she had come to feast on the flesh of the mother, with a host of demons, and take the newborn from her. She eventually reveals her secret names to Elijah in the conclusion. These names are said to cause Lilith to lose her power. Lilith, Abitu, Abidzu, Hakash, Avars, Haik, Pudu, Haialu, and Matrota. In others, probably informed by the alphabet of Ben-Sar, she is Adam's first wife. All right. Wow. I had no idea, right? No idea. But I'm going to tell you what, we will certainly now, we can become freaking walking dictionaries and say, now, wait a minute. You know, that story, we know exactly where it came from, what period of time, and why, what source. Okay, Al's put that out there to email him. It's going by quick. Sorry about that, Al. Well, buy the cards, pre-order them. The link is below. All right, folks, tune in tonight to the Steiger Perspective. It's going to be a good one. The title of the theme tonight is There Was a Coup d'etat. Obama is president, and what happened to $100 trillion? When did fracture be? Joyce, we'll get into this. Thank you, David Barry. Enjoy your, I guess it's evening time there, isn't it? Well, enjoy your evening. I hope you enjoyed this. I know for myself, maybe it's just selfish, but for me, this is kind of knowledge that really needs to get out there where someone can go and say, well, hey, you can really get to the end of the tape of the video and really get a lesson of really understanding who and what Lilith is. But you can see throughout history, this creature, this deity who's been vilified and, you know, attributed to horrific things. I often wonder if it's really her. If something else is like, you know, a doppelganger, that this God, this Yahweh formed another image. I mean, there's just a whole list of possibilities because this whole thing of creating demons, and then that means there's potentially trillions of demons right here, that this invisible race that we share this reality with, we are their prisoners because we don't believe in them anymore. Why, Wayne? Sophisticated people don't do that. Yeah. Thank you, Guy and Paul. You're welcome. Ruth Ann, thank you. This is stirring stuff. It's good stuff. I mean, it really is. It's great knowledge. Who knows? We may finish out the week on it. It's just, it's for the betterment of all of us because it takes away the fear factor. You know, you can, should this being exist, let's just say should, I would say that coming with a position of respect, that the fact that she had to endure all of this, well, there's not a human alive that this would not have just driven us absolutely, yeah, nuts. All right. Hello, Julianne Margaret. Much love to you, dear. Teresa, good to see you. Just say no to negative energies and send them heart bombs. Exactly. All right, folks. We'll pick up tomorrow. Tune in tonight. Guaranteed to be another barn burner. Trust me. All right.